It didn't feel like a friendly. Atletico Madrid wanted to kill all our players. Scott McTominay, thing is, you knew McTominay was on some kind of smoke because the guy had his colour up during the game. And he made sure it was up. When it was down, he put it back up. Manchester United 0, Atletico Madrid 1. I think as a United fan, we've been very excited with Ten Hag and the type of football and the style of football that he's bringing to the club. But I think that result is a reality check for us all. We've got ahead of ourselves a little bit too much with pre-season, in my opinion. And I think that result, even though it's a loss, will do a lot for Ten Hag. I think he will have seen things that he hasn't seen before. He will have seen what happens when Man United go behind and how we react after we go behind. And, you know, how petulant we are, our mentality. I think that defeat actually does more for us than some of the wins we've had in pre-season, if I'm being honest. But we'll get into it. We'll get into stuff. We're going to have a chat about the game, what went wrong, in my opinion, what didn't go to plan. And essentially, you know, where I think we are in pre-season. Are we ready for the start of the season? Let's get into it, guys. I think we started off okay. I remember Rashford having a shot very, very early on. He was put through by Bruno Fernandes. And I thought, you know what? I think this is going to be a good game. But as the game went on, I felt like we didn't have that control in midfield that I know Ten Hag wants and Ten Hag needs, and that's where De Jong will come into play, of course. That's why we need De Jong. But Fred wasn't actually that bad. In fact, I thought, before he sending off, Fred was our best player. He was. He played that role at the base of the midfield, collecting the ball from the back four, and he wasn't that bad. He played it quite decently. He was everywhere. He was making challenges, he was playing forward passes. And, you know, out of the two, Fred and McTominay, for me, Fred is the stronger. Fred is clearly the stronger. And, you know, you could argue, are they both good enough to start week in, week out for Man United? I don't know. But Fred definitely had a better game than McTominay today. For sure, 100%. I mean, we started the game well, but we just didn't have a hold in the midfield. And the midfield has been a problem for so long at Manchester United Football Club. Bruno, I'm worried for Bruno. I'm worried for Bruno because, as we can all see, he does create chances, but he gives the ball away a lot. Bruno, for me, is that person when you're playing FIFA who presses triangle, who presses through ball at every single occasion. Sometimes we need to keep the ball. Sometimes we need to rotate, keep possession. And I think the inability of Bruno sometimes to identify when a pass is not on. The pass is not on. You can't make this pass. Is worrying for me. And it has been worrying for a time, especially when I know Ten Hag likes a possession game. He does. But Bruno didn't have the best of games. Let's be honest. He didn't have the best of games today. And last year, he wasn't the worst player last year. There were much worse players than Bruno last year. But he didn't have a good year. And I'm worried for Bruno, to be honest. With Eriksen coming in, with potentially De Jong coming in, I'm concerned about Bruno. Elanga on the right was missing throughout the whole game. What do you guys think about Elanga? Because Elanga, you know, he runs, he tries, but fundamentally, he's not technically sound enough. He's not. And he didn't offer anything down the right-hand side at all. He made the wrong decision most of the time. When he came in field, he made the wrong passes. He made the wrong runs. And I was watching his performance today and I was thinking, we need Sancho. We are witnessing what we look like without Jadon. Jadon is going to be very important for us this year. And, you know, we're just seeing what happens without squad depth. Elanga cannot be, and I'm not trying to, you know, be mean to the lad, but he cannot be backup for Sancho. We need squad depth, and that was made very clear today, in my opinion. Once again, Scott McTominay, apart from a few challenges and a few fouls, I didn't notice him at all. Once again, on many occasions he was hiding. He played in a more advanced role than Fred, but I didn't notice him at all today. And, when he went off and Donny came on, to be honest, I don't think Donny is taking his chances either. We've seen Donny play many, many times, and I don't know Donny. He's good at finding little pockets of spaces, and he's good at, giving goals. He's like a wall. He reminds me a bit like Jesse Lingard, because Jesse likes to find spaces and half turn and do little give and goals. And he's very intelligent in terms of his awareness. But if you don't tap into what he's good at and utilize it, he therefore becomes null and void. So unless we use him for what he's good at, I'm worried for Donny. I am worried for Donny as well. So all in all, I think the first half was decent. It was okay. Like I said, some players underperformed. Malacia played well. I'm very impressed with Malacia, actually. And I think Luke Shaw should be worried, because Malacia looks more technically sound than Luke Shaw. And also, when Malacia's on the ball, he just looks so assured of himself. He knows what he's doing. He knows what he wants to do. And he's more adventurous than Luke Shaw. I think you almost have to push Luke Shaw to make overlapping runs. Whereas Malacia is just automatic. He just makes those overlapping runs. And one thing about Malacia, which is also quite good, his infield runs open up space. When he runs infield, he creates a lot of space, and only really intelligent fullbacks can make those infield runs. I know that Pep Guardiola likes his fullbacks to also tuck in as well. And I think that's what Ten Hag wants to do at Man United. And I think Malacia will fit that role, that idea very well. From what I've seen, I think Luke Shaw should be worried. I really do. Martial, at the start of the game, played well. He started well, should I say. He was put through and goal twice in the first half. And if I'm being honest, I think he should have done better with the opportunity that he had. But once again, he was living off scraps for the most of the game. And he tried to link play, he tried to drop deep. But I think we saw what happens without Sancho. It just looks a bit flat. So Martial didn't have the greatest of games either. I hope the injury is not a serious injury, because once again, that will show why we need reinforcements. If Martial gets injured, then we just have Ronaldo. That's it. Just Ronaldo as our only striker. And Ronaldo can't play every game. And clearly neither can Martial, because we forget Martial doesn't have a good injury record. I hope the injury is not serious. I hope he was taken off just as a precaution. I have no problem with the back four, or should I say the back two, Lindelof and Maguire. I think Maguire had a better game than Lindelof. I'm one of Maguire's biggest critics. When he's not playing well, I will say he's not playing well. But today wasn't one of those games. I thought he played okay. I remember he made a few last-ditch tackles. He covered a few runs from Morata. I think he played all right. I think Lindelof didn't have as good a game as Maguire, but he didn't play terribly either. But for me, it was just the midfield, and Elanga let us down so much. We need reinforcements. When Atletico brought on Morata, when they brought on Griezmann, João Felix, that showed you the squad depth that they have, that they could bring on those players. Who could we bring on of similar quality? No one, nothing. So United, we need signings. We keep forgetting that this team is basically the same team as last year, which had the worst Premier League season in Man United. That was the worst Premier League season in Manchester United history. And it's exactly the same team. And I know, with Ten Hag as a coach, we can play better football, but we need better players. We need signings. It's never been more evident. What do we look like without Sancho? We can also see we need signings. Bruno, keep a hold of that ball, please, please. Elanga, you got to do better. Rashford, he was quiet today. Rashford was quiet today. He tried. He made a few runs. He tried to link with Martial in the first half. And we know Rashford and Martial, they link really well together. So we saw some link-up play between him and Martial. We know Rashford can't... Well, for me, I don't think Rashford can play the lone striker role. I don't think his hold-up play is as good as Martial's. I don't think his footballing IQ is as good as Martial's. I don't think his decision-making is that good. I don't like Rashford in the striker position. So when Martial went off and, Rashford had to go up front, I thought to myself, oh, here we go. But this is a learning curve for Ten Hag. I think I'm not happy that we lost. You can never really be glad that your team loses. But I hope and I trust that Ten Hag learns more in this game than he did in the previous 3 or 4 friendly games for Man United. Christian Eriksen, I knew I forgot somebody. In the first 5 minutes, 10 minutes that Christian Eriksen came on the field, straight away I noticed a difference. He just had a different kind of control over what he was doing than what I saw from Bruno. And Bruno moved to the left-hand side. Donny replaced McTominay. Yeah, I'm interested to see what happens with Eriksen, where he plays. Would he play in a number 10? Would he play further back? How will he be utilised? He's not a young man. He's quite old now. Well, I say quite old, but he's 30 years old, I believe. And there was one cross I think he made straight away when he came on, a cross towards Rashford. And a floated cross, and it is so exquisite. And I thought to myself, wow, okay, if he can keep that up throughout the season, yeah, we've got a player on our hands. Once again, Donny came on as well, but I'm fearful. I don't think Donny is grabbing his opportunities. I really don't. We'll see what this manager can do. But guys, Ten Hag can only do so much. He can only do so much. We need players. And Dalot once again had a quiet game. I mean, nobody had a good game today. For me, apart from potentially Fred, who had a decent game, and I don't think Maguire was terrible. Other than that, and Martial tried. Rashford did okay, but other than that, no one really stood out for me today. It wasn't one of those games. Malacia did okay. But yeah, it's interesting that the one moment of quality came from João Felix. The one moment of quality, and what a goal, what a finish, and that's what we need. So, if I don't know what's happening with this CR7 situation, it seems like he's back now. So if he's back, hopefully he'll knuckle down, put his head down and help the team. One thing about today's game was definitely a battle. It didn't feel like a friendly. Atletico Madrid wanted to kill all our players. Scott McTominay, thing is, you knew McTominay was on some kind of smoke because the guy had his colour up during the game. And he made sure it was up. When it was down, he put it back up. And that challenge he made to the goalkeeper, I know he didn't elbow the keeper, and I know he didn't really jump in aggressively. But Scott's eyes were not on the ball. Scott didn't care about where the ball was. He just wanted to jump into the goalkeeper. Scott was on smoke. And it's funny that it's Fred that got sent off, and rather than Scott. Because Scott seemed like he was in that mood. He was in that mood today. So Scott McTominay. If Scott McTominay wasn't 6'5" and from Manchester, I don't think he'd be playing for Manchester United. In terms of technical ability, Darren Gibson is ahead of him. Tom Cleverley is ahead of him, and those guys didn't last long. So why he's still here? Because he runs around a lot and he's a Manchester lad and he kisses the badge and passion and muck sauce and whatever. I don't know. And you guys always lump him with Fred, and I'm like, no. Fred isn't the best footballer in the world, but he's not Scott McTominay. He plays for Brazil. He's decent when he's playing with good players. You can see he's got a decent touch. He can move the ball. Scott McTominay can't even get into Scotland's midfield. We need better midfielders. Manchester United, come on. Anyway, before I go, let's look at some match stats quickly. 13 shots, Man United to 7, Atletico. We had more shots than them. More shots on target. Possession, 56% to 44 for Atletico. I mean, at the end of the first half, I think we were on almost 60%. So it definitely changed. The tide of the game definitely changed in the second half. But we had more possession. And I know Ten Hag is a possession guy. He wants to dominate possession. So I think he'd want more than 56%. I think he'd want more than that, to be honest. But, 481 passes to 377 for Atletico. 86% pass accuracy compared to 78% for Atletico, which is good. I think Ten Hag will be pleased with that. But once again, I think he'd want more from the team. We've had more corners than them, 5-3. So yeah, I mean, of course, Fred Fred sending off at the end when he wanted to, or when he decided to stomp on someone's balls, I think. But anyway, United have work to do. The season starts very soon. Coaching can only take us so far. We need players. And that's been my match reaction, guys. I've never done a match reaction before. Those are my thoughts. Let's go. Let's go get it, guys. Man United, I think we will have a decent season. I still think we will. I'm still hopeful we'll get De Jong, but we need more players. We need attackers and we need midfielders. Let me know your thoughts. You know, who was man of the match? Fred. I'd give it to Fred. He got sent off, but up until then, I think Fred was our best player today. Yeah, I'd give it to Fred. Who was your man of the match? Let me know who your man of the match was. Let me know your concerns, if any. Let me know if you agree with me about the players and my concern for some players. I think Malacia might take that left back spot. I think Bruno, he needs to change his game. He needs to simplify his game a bit more, or he could be in trouble. Of course, we've got a new centre back, so I think, or I assume, it's going to be Maguire and Martinez, but we will see. And Elanga, he stood out for me. Elanga, he did. He might have been our worst player today. Elanga, he offered nothing down the right hand side, absolutely nothing. And his decision making, his choice of pass for me, and his choice of runs, just not good enough. Just not good enough. But let me know your thoughts. Do you agree that this loss could actually be more beneficial for Ten Hag and his development and his understanding and his learning of the players than a lot of the wins we had in pre-season? When the going gets tough, as we know with these players, sometimes the tough gets going. That's my reaction, guys. Thanks for joining and have a good evening, good day, whatever. Hooray. Peace.